If you want to excel at anything, it's not enough just to fix your weaknesses. You have to know your strengths. When you focus on your strengths, so many good things happen just as a ripple effect. You'll find more confidence, you'll boost your self-esteem, you'll get more motivation naturally, and people will recognize you, appreciate you, and value what you bring to the table. Working on your strengths is probably one of the most underestimated things in the world, because since we've been young, we've been taught to focus on our weaknesses. There was once a young man who failed his French exam. If he had focused on changing his language skills, we never may have found all of the discoveries in physics. That's Albert Einstein. One lady found out that she was highly disorganized. If she had only focused on being orderly, we may never have had Harry Potter. That's J.K. Rowling. The truth is that our weaknesses do make a difference, but the simple act of focusing on our strengths often allows us to be more organized, to be more focused, to be more motivated, and to be much more productive and effective. Focusing on your strengths comes with so many more advantages than just that, whereas focusing on your weaknesses often can be quite disappointing, depressing, restrictive, and actually bring you down and slow you down. In this short tutorial, I'm going to share with you my best tips and insights on how to uncover your strengths, how to become an expert, and then how to create a roadmap to your ideal career, job, business, or whatever it may be. Are you ready? Let's go. First of all, uncovering your strengths. One of the things I highly recommend completing is the 16 personalities test, a link which we're going to share right here for you. In this link, you're going to be asked a series of questions that allow you to do a self-assessment. You're going to be asked around 60 questions. So I highly recommend you spend around 30 minutes or maybe more answering these questions with enough time, with enough energy, and with the right amount of focus. I also want you to think about each question deeply. Really reflect on what the question is asking you. Think of scenarios and examples that you've been in which show you how you behave, rather than just thinking of how you would. What this test will allow you to do will provide an absolutely free understanding and report of how your strengths, skills, and energies actually make a difference in the world. I really want to make sure that you go ahead and take this test. I also want to give you a few questions and exercises you can do to really uncover your strengths on top of that great exercise and test that I've recommended that you take. What I understand when it comes to recognizing our strengths is that often we struggle to identify what we're truly good at. And therefore it's useful to have people who know us well, who understand us, and also who care about us, but believe in us and have a relationship where they can be honest with us for our growth. Having other people hold up the mirror in front of us allows us to reflect more effectively when we're starting our process of uncovering our strengths. What I'd love for you to do is select 3 people in your life. Someone that you've worked with professionally, someone that you know personally who's not a direct family member, and someone that you've met very recently. Using these 3 very different sources of feedback, I'd like you to ask them all to write a short brief on what they believe are your skills, expertise, and strengths. Ask these people to really go in depth and be as specific and clear as they possibly can. Ask them to focus on highlighting particular events, particular moments, rather than just broad statements. So instead of people saying things like, "You're confident," ask them to say, "You're confident when you're organizing a birthday party." Instead of people to say, "You're artistic," tell them to say, "You take great pictures." Ask them to be as specific and clear as possible rather than generic and broad. This will allow you as we move forward to the next step. The second step is trying to find patterns, spotting similarities in all of these 3 people. Now, if you're able to have 6 people or 9 people or even 12 people take part in this activity, that would be even more useful. But with a set of 3, you'll be able to start finding connections and patterns where people see your strengths. Again, the aim of this second step is to find similarities and note them down as themes. You may find themes like confidence when presenting. You may find themes like a good writer or photographer. You may find themes like very reliable or organized. When you start to find these common themes, write them down carefully. The third step is writing your own job description. We've got so used to looking at job profiles, job boards, and job descriptions that we're always trying to fit our strengths into a pre-made system. We're always trying to put ourselves into boxes. I want you to do exactly the opposite. I want you to create a unique job description and job profile based on what other people have said and the themes and patterns that you see and how you see yourself. Look at the links. If someone picks out specific parts of your strength and you agree with them, try and create a job description about your value, about what you have to offer, about the skills that you truly have. I now want to talk to you about the second stage, which is all about becoming an expert. A lot of people say follow your passion. And as much as I like that phrase, the truth is it's all about investing in our strengths. Following your passion can just be enjoying yourself with a hobby or a weekend business or whatever it may be. But when you invest in your strengths, that's when you start seeing real results. That's when you can start really creating your ideal career, your dream job, or a new business. It's when you invest in becoming an expert. It's when you invest in becoming better and improving your strengths and skills. Imagine I was going to tell you that I was going to invest 100 hours in your self-development. How would you split that up between what you're good at, what you're average at, and what you're terrible at? Imagine you had 100 hours to split up between those three. Would you do 33%, 33%, 33%? Or would you do 20, 20, 60? Or would you do 80, 10, 10? When I sat down with Tim Ferriss a few years ago when we discussed his book, Tools of Titans, what I found is that he said the most successful people on the planet, healthy, wealthy, and wise, go all in on their strengths, one or two areas. So the most successful people either do 100-0-0 or 80-10-10. Investing in your strengths is exactly the same focus and philosophy. Now, there are a number of ways to invest in your strengths, and I'm going to share my top 4 favorite ones right now for you to start planning. The first one is books. If you're fascinated with a new area, if there's something you really want to learn, if you truly want to invest in your strengths, start reading books about that subject. Books that have practical exercises, books that have practical tips and takeaways so that you can reflect and strengthen your knowledge in that area. The second one, which is one of my favorite ways of investing in your strengths, is networking. Find people who already have those strengths and network with them. That could mean assisting them with their projects, volunteering with them, shadowing them at meetings and events. The amount of experience you can gather just by spending time with an expert is completely underestimated. I've spent my whole life focusing on building these relationships and trying to learn as much from people who are living where I want to be. These are people who are not just talking, not just saying, but being and are growing in the space you want to grow. You will learn so much from them. The third way to invest in your strengths is to invest in an online course. There are so many online courses today on so many different sites, but these really provide regular, systematic, consistent learning. Whatever you want to learn, you can do it from the comfort of your home, while you're traveling, or even in one weekend. You can truly accelerate your learning with online courses. And the fourth piece of advice to invest in your strengths is start doing a minimum viable test. How can you test that skill? How can you test that strength? Let's say yours is video making. How can you make a 1 to 2 minute video and upload it to social media? Let's say yours is speaking. How can you organize an event where you can just speak to 5 or 10 people? Start testing yourself in small environments where you're not scared, where there's less fear, and you can learn from the improvement and feedback that you receive. The third and final stage is actually living and breathing your strengths and creating your ideal job, your platform, or your role in your current company. This is all about using your strengths that you've now invested in and become an expert at and demonstrating them in different areas. Trying to take up opportunities in your community, in volunteering circles, in your workplace to showcase your new strengths. I know so many of my friends who brought their hobbies and passions into the workplace that the workplace started to recognize and value as a unique skill. If it's something you want to do independently as an entrepreneur, start doing and using your strengths and skills that you've now invested in for people that are close to you. Start working on just one person, one client, one project that will help you develop your skills further and prove your real value. I hope that this video has been super useful and really simple so that you can start practicing all of this today. All you have to do is start with uncovering your strengths. Make sure you take the 16 personalities test, and it's absolutely free, and you will find out so much more about yourself. The second stage, which is really important, is becoming an expert. I shared with you 4 methods of how you can do that. And the third thing is really putting it all into practice. And that stage is really about finding that one project, that one client, that one person that you can start using your skills for to make a difference in the workplace or in your spare time. I promise you that investing in your strengths is the best investment you will ever make. It will lead to more confidence, more self-esteem, more motivation, and more focus.